Hey guys, welcome to the show. Trying to get the ring light on. Uh yeah. I gotta say, I've never thought I was a good looking dude. But with this ring light, holy lord, I look good. Like I'm actually proud to look good. I think I just need to go wherever I go, like in public with a ring light. That's what I need, just a ring light. Gotta say, hey, ring light me. I could pick up anybody I want. The ladies, the dudes, whatever. I'm good looking. Unfortunately, that's not how life is. A ring light is one of those magical things, which is good if you do an internet show like this. But in public, when you see me do stand up, a ring. Wait, maybe stand up has lights that make me look attractive. I never thought about that. Oh well. Moving on. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, Apple Podcasts. We need to get those reviews in. I think last time I checked, we're at 103, which is great. But what's better than 103? 104. And you could be number 104. So subscribe, rate, review. Give us honest feedback on the Apple Podcast. The reviews help us get guests. Again, the reviews do help us get guests. And yeah, that's what they look for. You could also follow and support us on Patreon, Reza Riffs uh, 61 at Patreon. So go to www.patreon.com/. Razor Rift 61 at Patreon and become a Rifter for $25. You get the live video. You get the podcast on Fridays instead of on the Mondays. And you get a free cameo. And you get a shout out after the podcast. Or you could be a Rifter, where you get the live video on Mondays when it comes out. And you get a free cameo and a shout out on the podcast. Or you could just become a Rifter, where you just get the podcast a couple days early, the audio, and you get a shout out and a cameo. All right. We got a great show today. You've seen this guy on Comedy Central and Evening at the Improv. He's actually a dentist by day, a stand up comedian by night. His name, Mike King. And he's the author of the book Dad Spelled Backwards, which you can pick up now on Amazon. Guys, enjoy Razor Riffs with Mike King coming up next.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Reza Riffs with your host, Keith Reza.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me? All right. The great Mike King is here. Says, connecting audio. Can't hear you yet. Excellent. Hey, Mike, can you hear me? All right. Let's see how I could work this chat thing. Hey, Mike. Can you hear me? Oh, hey, Mike. Hi. Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, what's happening? How are you?
Oh, doing great. How are you?
The same.
Oh, I thought my Zoom was acting up because I saw you, then I didn't see you, then I saw you, then I didn't see you. I was like, whoa.
Well, that's like those guys you call on the phone and you hello, and they pause. You think it's a real person, and it's their answering machine. You ever get those guys that try to?
Oh, yeah, like the old 1980s joke,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
hello, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I remember. You don't probably remember the old answering machines.
No, yeah, but I do have a cell phone, and when I call people, people do that. And it
Yeah,
makes no sense because it's a cell phone.
I know. Hold on 1 second. Is there any? No, I'm just answering my daughter. That's takes priority to,
Of course.
or at least she'll. Oh wow. Okay. Anyway, um, so how are you? How's LA?
Oh, LA is cloudy.
And what part do you live?
I live in Orange County, which is like 40
Yeah, I
minutes
know.
away. Yeah.
I used to go to USC.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah, and
nice.
I have a lot of I grew up in Colorado, so a lot of friends are down there.
Uh,
And Laguna Hills and that area.
did you go to USC for dentistry? Is
No,
that
dentistry, no, I did part of my undergraduate at USC, then transferred back to Colorado. I found it a little too much of a commuter school at the time.
right?
Everybody would kind of banding on weekends, and I loved it out there. I was did the whole fraternity, and I still have good friends.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, no, I did dentistry at Temple.
Oh,
Temple U.
nice.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If I was born a year or two later, I probably wouldn't have been a dentist. I would have gone straight into the business.
Of
Maybe had a couple of
comedy?
good, yeah, comedy writing. I don't know. I grew up. My background was all, more in that milieu, because my father with his nightclub and everything. And,
Yeah.
so, the dentistry was kind of safe. Everybody wanted safety back then.
Yeah.
You know, there,
I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but how cool was it that your dad owned that nightclub? I mean, you must have had ladies all over you growing up.
well, maybe not the ladies you wanted because, because, there was a bit of a stigma to it.
Yeah.
The fact that it was a strip club, a infamous and famous one at that, but it was still a strip club. So, you people wanted to be your pals who were, the high school quarterbacks and people like that.
Right.
You know, like in my act, teachers wanted discounts, but but at the same token, it was a bit sleazy on one
Oh yeah.
hand, and people, people thought of it. So it was kind of a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
to say the very least. So some people, it, I mean, I think generally I was a pretty outgoing, popular kid, but maybe the strip joint had something to do with it. Because my dad was, everybody knew him. When they introduced me to people, this is Sid King's son. They go, oh,
Oh,
I don't
nice.
know. It was like a celebrity. It's like growing up being the kid of a celebrity. It was. I don't think it was much different because as long as I stayed in Denver, I mean, the zone of power. You know about the zone of power, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Where comics used to talk about it. If you're have a good set and you're not well known, your zone of power is maybe in the lobby of the hotel where the comedy club was, maybe in the parking lot. But
Yeah.
after that, nobody knows who you are. But if
No.
if you're somebody well known like Bill Burr or something, your zone of power is, maybe not in China, but pretty much all through the States. So I had a zone of power in Denver
Yeah.
where everybody knew Sid. You can look him up still. His sign is in the Denver Museum.
No,
Sid King's
yeah.
Crazy Horse Bar.
I feel like the Zorro power for me is exactly what you said. Only the people in the hotels care about me,
Right,
right?
right, right.
But I don't
Did you do
know.
stand up at all, or
I do stand up.
you still do it?
Yeah, I toured with Norm Macdonald for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when he passed, right now I'm with TJ Miller, but I'm not a
TJ
household
Miller
name.
does the comic strip.
Yeah, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, because my friend, one of my closest friends, teaches there, DF Sweedler,
Oh,
and
nice.
DF's been around. If you ask any famous comic from Seinfeld to Paul Reiser to any, who DF is, and they'll give you a whole 10 paragraphs about his eccentricity. Even
Yeah.
Larry David, the same thing. But um, yeah, the two of us were writing, were faxing Larry David ideas for when he was doing Seinfeld.
What
Um,
was that? Was that cool?
well, we wrote a spec script.
Yeah.
It's just like the guys on the Tonight Show. They know somebody, so send us jokes, and hopefully somebody quits and you get a writing
Right.
if they use your jokes. So we did the same with Larry because we sent him a spec script, which was really good, and he said, "Give me three, story lines, and I'll give you a script." So we were coming up with, oh no, we're doing something similar. Who knew if it was similar or not? But
Right.
we did one of them that we gave him. We saw one of the episodes. I don't know. I mean, I guess if that's all you're thinking about, you're going to come up with similar ideas. But it was kind of cool. We did that for about a year.
Did
He was
he
very, he was receptive. This is the height of the show. We sent him a script on a Thursday, and he got back to us like following weekend. He said he already read it.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So I was gonna say, were you scared since you were faxing it that maybe you faxed it to like some plain dude or
right.
something?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what we were doing. Yeah, I guess it could be, somebody else. And yeah, I think, I wanted to publish it somewhere, put it out because it's such a good script. If you read it, you would think, yeah, this is the show.
Oh yeah,
I don't
definitely.
know,
You could make it yourself now, though,
right. Yeah.
right?
I don't know. Yeah, it's about death
Yeah.
and they did something similar to the Wedding Crashers
Oh yeah, yeah.
because Kramer in this episode, and this was before the Wedding Crashers by several years, uh, liked to go to funerals as a pallbearer because he would meet a lot of chicks that way.
Right. So I have a theory. You want to
Yeah,
hear my theory? Okay.
sure.
So you sent it in on a fax, right? And
Yeah,
Larry David got it, and he had like
right,
his interns and stuff read it too. Then he read it. One of
right.
his interns suddenly quit, right? And
Oh
then
no.
yeah, this is the theory. So then he quit, right? And
Right,
he's all talking to his buddies, right?
right,
And his buddies, one of his buddies that he talked to is a guy who wrote The Wedding Crashers, right?
right.
So it
Uh,
all comes full
oh
circle.
no.
Yeah,
Can I still sue? Is it past the statute of limitations?
maybe, but we don't know which intern it was. We got to get down to this.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I heard he rewrote most of everything. I
Yeah,
mean, some of the guys you're too young to remember, like Fred Stoller
I
and
love Fred Stoller.
and Hanson. I think there was writing. Carol Leifer
Yeah, she's
was
great too.
was writing. A lot of the New York acts went out there. I
Yeah.
mean, I went out and visited. When Ray got his show, I visited him on the set, and a lot of New York comics again.
Fred Stoller would probably be like if when you were a dentist, he would probably be
Yeah,
that one comic you don't want to serve, because
right,
like
right,
he's very monotone and like
right.
he's very geeky. I mean, he's the
Yeah,
sweetest
yeah,
guy, but you're
yeah.
like, you
I
know,
know.
open
I don't know
up,
if he
you'd be
even
like,
remembers me, but yeah, he probably even came in the office once or twice because I would always offer comics deals. It's the same deal I gave Ray for this kid, 30 years ago. They pay hardly anything. They
yeah,
give the money to the hygienist, she gets the extra cash, and because as we know, a lot of comics, as they're rising or already risen, and they don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a gig economy. It's hard to make a decent living at,
So
as you.
that, yeah, definitely. That is one question I actually did want to ask you is like while you're doing the dentist stuff, because dentists actually do make decent money.
Yeah,
And then,
dentists make,
you know,
especially specialists like
yeah,
me. We do. I do very well. I
yeah.
can't. I have one of the larger practices in Manhattan for pediatrics. Uh, I never gave that up, even though I I was working on another sitcom. There was this guy named David Seltzer. Some of these
Oh,
names you want to,
yeah.
David. Okay, so uh, through word of mouth or something, he was working on Gene Wilder. I guess broke up with Gilda. There's a lot
Mm.
of name calling. I mean,
Oh, we
don't.
love name callings.
All right. So he broke up with Gilda. Gilda passed away. So he was in a funk, and he was good friends with David Seltzer. This is the story I got. And he wanted to create a sitcom to get him out of, and it was about a dentist who was a widower, trying to get back into, the stream of life. And so he heard that I was a dentist and a stand-up. Wow, the lights went off.
Yeah.
And so, he hired me as a consultant and temporary agent at CAA. I had this other stuff going with, um, I sold a script to a New Line. It was in development. I had another script that I sold to a guy named David Susskind. And then I had kind of a temporary agent. I thought, this was at the time to make my move and give
Yeah.
up dentistry. But I mean, I really like being a dentist. It's not that anyway, so they hired me as a consultant. And so they had me come to the studio in Queens where they were shooting. And I don't know, I think Bob Shaw was on the staff. I don't know if you know him. He's supposed to be Larry David's favorite comedian of all time. And Don McHenry. I don't know if you
Mhm.
know Don. He wrote, the cartoon Hercules with Bob Shaw. And anyway, they were on the writing staff, and everybody else was half my age. I didn't want to give them all the ideas, but I sat down. I think at the time, it was $500 for the day,
Right.
and then I never heard from him. And then I heard from the grapevine from Don or something. They didn't like my ideas. Meanwhile, the thing shot 2 episodes, never aired, never got it. They should have listened to my ideas.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
two things you're telling me. One, they stole my ideas from Larry David's, and now this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had ideas like kind of, yeah. So that's why like I'm very careful when I talk,
right,
or when I talk to people, I give them a really bad idea.
right. Exactly. That's
You
what I
know,
was doing. I didn't
but
want
I
to take
do
it.
it with so much confidence that I think
Right,
it's a great idea.
right.
You know?
Yeah, that's like when you were in college. Professors probably quoted certain things, and they had no idea what they were talking about. In 1982, this
Yeah.
study. So do you have problems with people maybe borrowing one of your jokes or being a.
Yeah, I mean I did, but now that like, now at the time because like I'm much known for my association with Norm, I wrote for Norm
Yeah,
and stuff and all that stuff.
yeah,
So at the time it really bothered me, but now it's kind of like I kind of, you know, whatever. I just let it brush off because it's
yeah,
like I know it's my idea or whatever, so I still keep doing it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or
yeah.
whatever, or I don't do it. But but yeah, man, I understand what you mean about the teachers and stuff because like I have Asperger's syndrome, so I know a lot like about history and stuff.
Right,
So
right, right.
whenever I go to history class and the history teacher always says something wrong, I'd
Yeah.
always like out them out about it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
And it just like embarrasses them. And I actually got
right.
expelled once from a history class. I had to take a new class because the teacher, like, I embarrassed him so bad that the teacher didn't want me in this class anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was,
Now, do you have a eidetic image, a photographic memory, or
no,
just
I
You
I
just
I
remember facts and
I remember facts. I can't like look at a picture and remember it, but like when I read stuff, I remember what I read and I keep it in. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, that's a
yeah,
good, yeah. I do that with people's salary. I don't know. You
yeah,
could tell me somebody made somebody made like and they made 36,500, and 15 years from now I'll tell them what they made. I
oh
don't know
my
why.
God.
It's weird. It's
Do they forget what they make?
I don't know when it comes to money and numbers. I guess because even though my dad had this successful nightclub that
Yeah.
everybody thought we were rolling in money, there was always an element because there was a lot of strife between my parents that my dad was not successful. So that, and at that time, the one ingredient that made you successful was the monetary one. If you had
Right.
money, you were considered like king,
Successful, yeah.
and it had nothing to do with, you know, the inner you or all that other stuff. So I think maybe that has something to do why I think of, I'm not as obsessive about it as I was, but
Yeah.
I mean, that whole money thing can be a real trap.
Oh no, definitely. And then like it's also like, when you Google celebrity net worths or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, right.
like so here's the thing, like my celebrity net worth is $1 million. And
Yeah,
I'm here to tell you, Mike, I don't even have $100 in my bank account. So like they like totally lie about it, and I think they take like what your family makes, and they like it's like a weird
yeah,
formula because there's no way I have $1 million. You know what I mean?
right, right, right.
So it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like the internet is kind of like dangerous in a form like that because it's
Right.
like you never know when these home wreckers Google you and they're like,
Oh
"Hey,
yeah, you
I
got
want
20
to."
million dollars. Yeah,
Yeah, and then they find out you have $2. You're like, oh,
yeah. I don't know where they get those. Is it AI? It's going to be AI from now on, trying to get that stuff off all the. I feel bad. Maybe I should send you $100, 101.
no way,
So,
man.
so,
If anything, I
well, I
should
read
say,
that 75% of Americans can't come up with 400 something dollars tomorrow.
yeah,
I mean, that's pretty scary when you think
yeah,
about it.
yeah, that is true. Yeah,
You
I
know,
uh, I gotta start an OnlyFans or something. You know what I mean?
yeah, or do so, yeah, or don't you get these things from comics? GoFundMe, I have a wart on my toe. I need $10,000.
It's crazy. Yeah, I do. So like, I do donate to certain GoFundmes if it's a good cause.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. I donated to this one comic who was filming a special, and the reason why I did it was because I thought it was really, really funny. And I get it; times are tough for comics, especially with COVID and stuff.
hmm,
But when I see like, oh, hey, I need $50 to pay my rent, it makes
yeah,
me feel very taken advantage of. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Or was that one thing in? I don't remember. I think it was in. I don't want to mention names, but somebody's girlfriend said she had a disease, and because he was well known, he had no idea. But she put on a GoFundMe, and they send him all this money. I mean, everybody kind of felt bad for him, but she didn't have a disease. But
Yeah.
I don't want to mention names, but
No,
you
no,
probably
yeah.
know,
But I've
you
heard
probably know the
similar
guy.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah, and or they're being treated for something. I mean, I feel bad, but most comics that we know don't have insurance.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. With Obamacare, I think they could afford it at this because most of they get is cash. And, well, they're not savers. I
No,
don't
no.
think.
Especially if you know like certain comics where like I don't know, like when you started in the 80s and stuff, like
Yeah,
drugs were big, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh,
like, they probably didn't save any of their money. And I don't know the rates back then, but the
yeah,
rates now are so low that,
right,
if you buy drugs with that, you can't even buy the drugs. You know what I mean?
right,
So I
right,
don't know
right,
what they're
right.
doing.
No, I feel bad. I took advantage of. I guess I could say. I mean, I was friendly with Belzer,
Oh, yeah.
and Belzer loved the Quaaludes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say any more about that, but I mean, at the time, it was, a lot of things went on. I don't know if this happens now in the clubs because I'm not, but they used to, I think, used to have a room downstairs where everybody would be doing this or that. I wasn't privy to that.
Yeah.
I was the dentist who was also doing comedy.
Yeah. You were the guy who says, "Hey, don't do that. It's going to be bad for your teeth."
Right, right. Or like, or Bill Maher says on, if you look at the special evening, Behind the Brick Wall,
Mhm.
it's about, the improv and how it started in New York. It's a good documentary. And you'll see Bill Maher in there and he's going, I had to follow the effing dentist.
And he was following you, right?
Yeah. But
Oh,
I don't think he ever followed me. He was always, he was usually hosting. And and I got into the club because through drilling, I knew people.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, across about one step of separation. I mean, everybody knows a dentist or should.
They should.
And
Yeah.
you know a lot of dentists, so you can.
Yeah. Well, I know I know comic dentists. Like
Right,
all the dentists I knew were like guys who thought they were comics. Like
right, right.
they'd
Yeah,
be like, "Yeah, let's go get that feeling." Ha ha ha. You're like,
yeah. Well, there's a couple comic. I mean, Jeff Gurian. Him. Everybody knows Jeff. I think
yeah.
maybe he does. He has um, a channel, I think, and he's a very nice guy. He used to be a dentist. I don't think he's practicing anymore. And there
Yeah.
used to be some physicians that still do. But I mean, I was a working road out there every weekend comic for years.
So was that hard for you? Because like, so
Oh
like
yeah,
if you did the road, I would say Thursday through Sunday, right?
yeah.
So
Well,
you
yeah. I couldn't. Sometimes I would do Thursday through Sunday. A lot of it was Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturdays.
And
Okay.
so so many times you would run out of the office, pick up the other comic. Also, if you had a car, you get more gigs.
Right.
So you pick up the other comic and you head out, and you always be stuck in the tunnel, and you'd be calling the club and you saying, "Yeah, we're gonna be a little late." You know, But once I was with there was three comics in the car, the closer, the middle, and the opener, and we were in my garage, and you couldn't get out of the garage unless you had the opener, and you couldn't get in the building unless you had a key, which I didn't. I was just using the garage, and it wasn't working.
Right.
So the whole comedy show was in the garage, stuck. So we had to tear apart the automatic garage opener.
Whoa.
Any money I made to that went to repairing that for the building. It was
Were you
funny.
closing that week?
No, I like to feature. I never
Feature's the
liked
best.
closing.
Yeah.
Why close? I
Yeah.
mean, because they never paid attention to who they put in as a feature.
That's
And,
true.
that's why, if you're, a draw, you're going to get a feature that compliments you. But, they could put on some guitar singing, dancing, you know, guy, and that blows the audience away, and you come out and say, "Hey, how are you?" It's
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
but usually you were stronger than the MC, and a lot of times you were stronger than the closer.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it was a win-win. But the $100 difference or $200 didn't really make a difference to me. And you have to
Yeah.
do less time. There's so many advantages, as you know, to featuring.
Yeah, and that is actually a featuring secret that I feel a lot of people don't know is a lot of times the feature is probably one of the strongest comics on the lineup because
Oh yeah.
they could go do more time if like the headliner's
All
not
right.
there,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, once I don't know if this happened here. Once I closed the show, we were in Saratoga, New York. I didn't like closing, but I said, "All right." So this show's over. I had an okay set. I mean, I'm not one of these guys that get applause, a little applause and say they killed. No, it was a decent set.
right.
The feature definitely did better. And I was sitting there at the end of the show talking to the feature. We were standing around, and this person comes up and starts talking to the feature. I mean, I'm right there. I just been on the stage for 40 minutes. And they said to the feature, you were much funnier than the last guy. And the last guy is standing right looking at this person
Right, right.
who,
The
what,
last guy's you.
yeah, they didn't recognize me. I'm still there. I mean, I'll never forget that.
Yeah. But as a headliner, you kind of just have to accept that because people's attention spams, by the time you're up, they're
Oh
probably
yeah.
drunk or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying that was the case. I'm just saying that there's so many excuses where
Oh yeah.
that's happened to me, and I just think to myself, there's no way I'm funnier than the headliner. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
It's not because I'm working with them. It's just
Uh,
it's just impossible.
yeah, and
So
you can do your best stuff in less time, and and I don't know. And
uh,
I don't know out there, but the money's not a big difference.
yeah, no, it's the money's terrible for hosting. It's 50 for featuring. It's 100, and for headlining, it's usually 70 to 80% of the door. So
And that's
it's
on the road or in the city.
that's just where I'm at, the California. And
Okay.
then when I do the West Coast, it's usually the same thing. So I've never
And
really done the East Coast. So
yeah, I'd say it's not a growth industry. I mean,
yeah,
unless you're a draw, you're right. You don't get um yeah, I think in the city it's still $25 for me, just to do a weeknight. I think the seller pays a lot because they want to keep the comics in
happy.
town.
Yeah.
So they pay considerably more. Um, on the road, I think it's the same thing. I was offered, a couple $100. I did a couple dental gigs. I have one coming up and they pay a lot, you
Oh,
know,
that's awesome.
so they'll,
You
but
need
I
an
don't, overall, they
opener?
don't have a lot of sense of humor, Dennis.
I was gonna say you need an opener. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Is that a pun for dentistry? An opener.
no, I was just trying to ease my way into
Yeah,
your
right.
rotation. I was gonna ask you about dad spelled backwards. Like, how long did it take you to write that, and what made you come up with that idea? Because writing a book is very, very hard.
Oh, it took me 10 years. Uh,
Whoa,
that's all. A long time.
that's
I had
long.
I had a lot of editors and people looking at it. It's really a good book. I've been told it's an important book, but like anything else, you have to get that tipping factor.
Yeah,
It's what they call a, I don't know, green book or something like that, where it's timeless. I mean, because of subject matter, but because our daughter's adopted, you're supposed to write what you know about. So I think about 2 years after we adopted her, uh, at the same time I was working on uh, a two-person show, and I wanted to write this book uh, because I thought it was an important book about people who are on the fence about having kids, not just adoption, but just having kids. Because once I had a kid, it was a life changer for the better. And
right.
I wanted, so it's really a love story. It's about family, but it's really a love story between my wife and myself, and then becoming a family when we got our daughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's good. It's people are surprised. But
Yeah,
I hired all these editors to help me, uh, because like it's writing a joke. I always find simplicity makes the best joke.
right.
Distilling it down to, you know, what it is, and that's difficult. And the same thing for me with writing. I get some writers, like Joyce and stuff, go on and on, but people like Hemingway and it's very sparse to me. And I think that I wanted that book to be that way. I didn't want to, it's funny, and there's a lot of funny moments, like
But
the time you donate sperm.
right. But that's kind of like your skill as a comic though, because
Right,
as a
right,
comic, you want to get as much fat out of the joke,
right,
and you
right,
just want to tell the joke. So that's
right,
probably how you learn that skill.
right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's amazing when you look at. I think I write better now in comedy than I've ever had. Um,
Yeah.
and I look back at some of the things I tried to do on stage, and I'm going, "Oh my God, I can't believe." I once went on stage dressed as a Hasidic, I don't know what I was thinking,
Yeah.
but a friend of mine, the same guy I wrote with Larry, we wrote for Larry David, D.F. Sweetler. That's the first time he saw me. I don't know
Yeah.
how we became friends, but I was dressed. You ever notice how sometimes you do a bit and you think this is going to blow people away? This is going to make my career.
Oh yeah. And it's usually the exact opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I dress, I can't even, I mean, this is back in probably 81, 82. I can't even believe it. I used to came out dressed, I still have it, a silk Hasidic coat. And I was trying to play a Hasidic guy in a singles bar, and I'd open up, hey, I said, hi, or should I say, hi? And, and oh my gosh, I can't believe that was me.
Yeah. Oh man. But what was I gonna say? So did you do prop comedy?
I went, I did a lot of props.
Oh my god.
I was a prop comic. I had tons of props. And, I wasn't like, I don't know, you probably are way too young to remember Lenny Schultz. I think he's still around in Florida.
Yeah.
He was like the Wiz, is that the guy that, or Carrot Top or one of those guys that bring, he brought up, we called him Crazy Lenny. He was one of the bigger comics on the East Coast. He
Yeah.
was very funny. And he would come up, he said, you're going to introduce me as Crazy Lenny. And he'd come up with props. He'd bring rubber chickens out, and he end his act in his underwear.
Oh my god. So it was
And he
like
would get
a strip
standing
comic.
ovations. And so I would bring my little suitcase of props. Um, I was noted for one prop. Everybody said, my king, he's the shoe guy, right?
Right.
So I would have this bit about, I live in New York City. I've been robbed 3 times. People broke into my apartment. I found a secret burglar alarm where I don't even have to lock the door to my apartment. Instead of locking the door of my apartment, I leave these outside the front door. And I would take out my little case a size 21 sneaker. Like you had to
Holy
order these
Lord.
special.
Yeah.
And the bid is, you put these outside your door. Is anybody going to break in thinking that guy was home? And
Yeah.
people would, it was a funny bit. But I got tired of schlepping and dragging the little suitcase around. I tell people I went to Props Anonymous, and people think poorly of props, but I don't know. I don't. I think it's a little snobbery. I think if it works and people love it, why not?
So I think that people think that nowadays because like we go back to the attention detail thing. It takes a lot to do a prop joke, right?
Right, right,
And people's attention is probably 30 seconds to a minute. If they're not
right,
laughing, they're kind of over it.
right, right,
Like like I saw that I don't want to mention a name because like this guy runs a lot of clubs and stuff, but he used to work with Rodney Dangerfield.
right, right.
And I ended up doing a weekend with him because the headliner I toured with canceled and I was already there, so they let me still do the shows, right?
Yeah,
And he did nothing but props, and I didn't think his act was very good, but I actually admired him because like really fast, like
right,
he's changed clothes like
right.
that. And I was like, maybe I'm just jealous because that's something I can't do.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but I think that your purity of being a monologist or whatever, what do you want is just it's not cumbersome. It's light. You could just go there
Right.
and do it rather than, oh, I have to have this. Even Ray Romano had a prop or two. It was a big prop. He had something we tied in his hair, and it would do this. I can't remember. We
Yeah.
ever talked to him, asked him the bit. It was very funny.
I thought he
Uh,
did a guitar bit for a while.
yeah, he did a lot of.
Yeah.
I mean, we started together at Dangerfields, and so I worked tons of gigs with him.
Yeah.
And I used to take him whenever I was offered a road gig. I always bring him to close because he was such a good. He had the highest likability factor of almost any comic I ever knew.
Yeah. And everybody loves Raymond.
Oh yeah,
He should have wrote a dentist part for you, right?
right. Yeah,
Like,
I didn't want to bug him. I called him once. I went out there. We hung out after the show, which was really nice. But he was being, he's very nice, sweet guy, and
yeah,
and you're inundated with people who, you know, want to help, and you want to help, but there's only so finite positions. Can you help me do this and do that? And, I'm sure it was hard for him. I
Well,
think I called him
there's
twice.
also the theory that people can't help people if they want to, if they can't like say if I was Ray Romano, like a
Right,
national before my show, but I'm just
right,
now getting my show. As
right.
much as I love you, I can't help you because I
No,
can't really help myself right now.
no. When it first starts,
Yeah,
but after you get credibility and you have a couple years under your belt, and now
that's a different story.
you're the
Yeah.
boss,
Yeah.
then you can say, well, put him on. But again, he was a lot closer to other comics than myself, even though I consider us good friends. He was a lot closer to other comics, and you know they were in a better position. I would never in at any time probably give up the dental gig. It's just too dependable, and it's something I really enjoy. I like being
Plus,
the boss. I mean, I don't have to worry about other people liking this or that. I mean,
plus
they
you
have
could
to like
always
the personality.
blackmail like big comics and be like, I know how many cavities you have.
I know. I was talking to a comic the other night, and we had dinner. It's the same guy, DF, and he started, and I didn't even think about this. Um, he said, "You see a lot of older kids." I said, "Yeah, because they started, and now they're in college, and they still come." He said, "They still come?" I said, "Yeah." And then I thought, because I always tell kids, and I'm not doing this maliciously or selfishly, because it happens when you change dentists.
Mhm.
Like an older partner leaves and a new partner comes in, they always find more cavities.
Yeah.
So I've been telling these kids since they were little that if they change dentists, the new dentist will probably find more cavities. And
Yeah.
so maybe that's why they stayed.
Well, you have a joke in your act where you're that fifth dentist,
Yeah, yeah, that's by act. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
who,
I always wanted to go find you, but after the
right,
third dentist, I was like, yeah, these all have the same opinion. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. The
but
third dentist. Yeah, the fifth dentist is, it's good for business. Eat that cotton candy.
yeah. So I
You
have
know.
three more questions. I want to respect your time, but I think that here's an idea that you could have. So I'm giving it to you. So
Okay.
but you could write a sequel to your book called Mom Spelled Backwards.
Right. That's good. Oh,
Ah,
I'll work on it with my wife. That would work.
yeah, excellent. But I wanted to ask you where when you're doing the dentist stuff, you know, and so like how hard is it, when you do the weekend and then you have to come back on Monday? Like, is that just very hard for you, or do you stay up all night like examining the files so you kind of know what you're going into?
No, no. I mean, I've been doing dentistry so long. It's not, pretty much what you do. As a pediatric dentist, I mean, we're doing mostly fillings and cleanings and
Oh,
X-rays
okay.
and extractions. So it's not like, you're gonna put a $50,000 roundhouse of crowns in somebody's mouth. It's not. I mean, you have to be awake.
Right.
Fortunately, my growing up with my dad, he was always up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and I think as a kid I was always up late, and even now, 2 or 3 is my usual bedtime,
Yeah.
and so I'm pretty good on that. And I do a little meditation and things like that, which help a lot. But yeah, it's after the gig, I can compartmentalize, so you can kind of, if you're wearing the dental hat or comedic hat or the writing hat, I can stay up late so I can do that other stuff late
Yeah.
at night.
I guess I got like this weird feeling you were like a Steve Martin type of Little Shop of Horrors dentist. You know what I mean? Where
Right,
like,
right, right.
so I was like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, that where you enjoy inflicting pain. No,
uh,
no. But as pediatric dentists, you have to be very gentle, and our whole shtick is the fun dentist, because kids look forward to coming here. I mean, aside from doing fillings and stuff, which we have down pretty much where it's not very traumatic. I mean, we treat the kids and the parents excellent. I mean, everybody gets toys, we do magic tricks.
Yeah.
We have a real robot, not a toy, a real robot that comes in the waiting room and gets a patient and brings them to the chair. I mean,
Whoa.
it's a serious robot. It's not
How much did that robot cost you?
I think they're going for about 14 or 15 now, thousand.
Whoa, I want a robot.
And the new one we're getting, I think, is 30 if we're gonna order that.
Whoa.
Toys. Toys. And
I could afford that robot. I'm worth $1 million. I want
right,
that.
right.
Oh man. Uh so real quick, I wanted to ask you about the Lap Dance Kid, which is a show you just did. It was
Yes,
a
yes,
musical. So
right.
like how hard was it writing a musical? Because there's so many elements to that, right?
Yeah. Well, what happened is that's when it started off as a two-person show, myself and my dental assistant slash stripper. It was about being a dentist, a stand-up comedian, and the son of a strip joint owner. So it wasn't a one-man show, it was a two-person show. And so I started that probably in 2012 at a restaurant called Zen Palette. I bring comics over like Chris Stefano and others that are probably well known now. And I would buy them dinner and I read them the script. And that's how it started out. And
Oh,
then
nice.
I did it, the show ran about an hour and 10 minutes. And then we did it at the Producers Club. And then we did it at the, downtown at an improv theater. And for about 6 years. And not big audiences. I mean, you would pay for a publicist and two people would come in, but
Right.
we got good reviews and people loved it. And then one day I thought this would be a great musical about a kid, because part of it is growing up as in a strip joint, solely about a kid growing up whose father or the family business was a strip club. And so this takes place when the kid is about 12 years old, just before his bar mitzvah, that his father decides to change the venue from a neighborhood tavern to a strip joint, and how
Oh,
it affected his life. It's the music. I didn't write the score. The music is quite good.
oh.
And we're looking for an off-Broadway run. For nowadays, I gauge things by how many fillings I have to do. So I
Right.
think we're up to off-Broadway runs about 2,000 fillings.
But I have a feeling, like, not to jump to conclusions,
Right,
but I have
right,
a feeling it's about you
right.
when you were a
Yeah,
kid, right?
I know. I feel that way also.
Oh, excellent. And then so the last question I had for you is, Mike King, if you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing what you
Right.
know now, what
Yeah.
advice would you tell yourself?
I probably stay at USC.
Stay at USC. All right.
Yes, for instead of transferring. That would probably be about it. I mean, I'm not one of these people that could. I like being where I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say that at 100 years old, but it's a lot to go through. And growing up and the pain is a lot of it is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You have to do this and do that. So I mean, I like it, but I think it would have opened up other things for me if I stayed at USC rather than transfer. I mean, I had a great year there, but that would probably be about it. I think
Well,
everything. I think I've been pretty lucky. I have a great childhood growing up in Denver, and
yeah.
bringing my friends on Friday night. We're 16 years old, and my dad would put us in a hidden booth in the back of the club,
And you see a lot of
and
ladies.
we see a lot of naked ladies. And then
uh,
he would say things like, "Hey boys, you don't see this in high school." And
uh, I'm so glad you said that and you didn't say, "Hey, Mike, if Keith Reza asks you to do his podcast, say no."
right, right. That was probably next.
Well, Mike, where can the folks at home follow and support you? You got Twitter or Instagram or something?
I think I don't know. I think it's Mike King Comedy,
Nice.
something like that. We're also at Fun Dentist, plural. I think Fun Dentist. Mike King Dentist is another one. We're out there. I have someone that does that for me.
Awesome.
But look, lapdancekid.com. That's
Lapdancekid.com.
that's where I think the greatest passion right now. And also, I have another book coming out, another
Called,
children's dental
called
book.
Mom spelled backwards.
Right, mom, mom, yeah, open wide, mom. Um,
uh, that's
yeah,
good.
there's a whole thing of dental sayings that that have a risque, you know, connotation. When you're saying things to people, and the other place you would say these wouldn't be a dental office, but
Yeah, definitely. Well, Mike, it was a pleasure talking to you, man. Thank you so
yeah,
much for giving me some time.
you're
And
welcome, Keith. I
yeah,
hope things are going. When's your next gig?
I'm doing San Antonio in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you closing or
No, no, I'm the opening act. Like I said, I open up for TJ Miller, so that's all I do. Is
and so he pays you himself or the club pays you?
the club pays me and then he takes care of the travel and stuff.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. He's a
I
great
think
guy.
have you done the gig in Austin? Have you
The
done?
mothership?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Have you?
No, no. I go down to, we have a place down in Austin. We rent it out, but my sister
Oh,
lives in Austin, but I used to know Rogan
yeah.
back in when he used to be at Dangerfields together. I don't know. He probably doesn't remember me, but
So like that's a club where everyone loves it. Like, but that's not my type of humor. Like,
yeah,
no offense towards the Roganairs or whatever,
yeah,
but I don't find that humor like something I want to be around because it's kind
yes,
of bully-ish. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
kind of so yeah. So I'll just say it at that. So I don't think I'll ever go to that club, but I
It's a lot
do
of talking to the audience, and
yeah, I do hear it's a great club though.
yeah,
So, you know,
I guess he lives down there.
yeah, yeah, he
And
moved
what
out there.
and where you what places do you spots in LA?
The Improv, Laugh Factory,
Yeah,
I'm not really a store guy. I mean, I'll do
right,
it if they ask me, but it's not like,
right.
oh, hey, I got to do the comedy store. You know what I mean?
Jay London's still down there?
Yeah, yeah. He actually hit me up the other day.
Really?
It's very, yeah. I haven't seen Jay London forever, man. But yeah, he
Yeah.
still has that long hair, and he
He
still
looks like
has. Uh,
I have a Christmas card with Howard Feller, Jay London, and Mike Bichetti.
oh yeah,
Do you know any of those guys?
I know Jay London.
All right. They all look like they're from, you know, they, they, they're they're unique.
Yeah.
I love them all, but they're unique. And I had a Christmas card that they posed for, so I'm not doing anything. And this is probably I could never get away with it now, but this is probably because I come out with these annual Christmas cards like Moeller Lisa,
Uh-huh.
Jacques Cousteau, and so I came up one with dental floss, but it was dental flaws.
Ah.
And I have these guys dressed as, I don't know, dentists. Bichetti has his own a TV show now, I think.
If I got a card
Yeah,
like that, I would definitely want to start flossing.
right, right.
Well, Mike, have a great day,
Well,
buddy.
Keith, thank you. Have
Oh,
a great day yourself.
this was fun, and we'll talk soon. We'll
Yeah,
see each
take
other in the
care.
comedy
All
verse.
right. Take care. See
Uh,
you.
bye,
Bye.
Mike. All
Take
right,
care.
guys. That was the episode with Mike King. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Reza Riffs.